Reacting to Races, Rescues, and Runaways VHS review. To everybody who's requesting a video, please know I am trying to find the videos you requested me, and I will get to them as soon as I can. That's why I tell you guys, leave a link in the comments of the video so I can find them. If you can't leave a comment, then leave the title of the video and I will look it up and see if I can find it and react to it when I can. So don't worry, your requests are written down. I'm having trouble finding them. So again, keep doing that. Anyways, the reason we're doing this one today is because someone told me my favorite Thomas and Friends song is getting reviewed on here, and it's called Accidents Will Happen. I am going to be so scared to what the review is going to be for Accidents Will Happen. I love the song, and it's like, I swear. Let's get started. Okay, we're gonna skip this so I don't get a copyright claim. There you go.
YouTubers, I welcome you all back to another pretty exciting review, and this time it's a crazy one.
Yeah.
So no big intro needed, and let's get right on into the history.
Let's go.
Of Races, Rescues, and Runaways.
Let's go.
Races, Rescues, and Runaways was first released on VHS on August 10th, 1999 by Anchor Bay Entertainment. Just from this release alone, this release had quite a number of the variants for the sticker labels on both the blue and black tapes.
Yeah.
Sometime in 2000, the VHS was re-released again, but with the solid blue and black ink labels. Also, on the same cover, some releases had a round sticker labeled All New Stories by new narrator Alec Baldwin. Here's a fun fact. Back sometime in early 2000, I distinctly remember buying this particular cover with that same sticker, and the tape was a blue ink. Seems so surreal that I bought that tape with my parents over 23 years ago. Then, for the third time, Races, Rescues, and Runaways was released on July 24th, 2001.
Okay.
1 year later, on July 23rd, 2002, came the DVD releases. 3 years later, sometime in 2005, the Slim case was then released.
Okay.
And lastly, once again, sometime in 2009, the DVD was redistributed by Lionsgate. And of course, where would this DVD be without all the bonus packs, such as the Earl Lord Harry pack, which I can say I've never seen before, and the Wooden Railway packs.
Yeah.
As you can see, there is a ton.
Yep.
You've also got double DVD sets with races being released with either Thomas and the Jet Engine or On Site with Thomas. And you can also find this DVD in the Totally Thomas Volume 2 set, a 3 DVD lunchbox set, and the Sodor Friends Holiday Collection. Okay, so now that release history is complete, let's take a look at these crazy episodes.
Let's go.
So Races, Rescues, and Runaways features 6 of the most wild and wacky episodes from Season 5, following a bonus music video at the end. Toby and the Flood, Put Upon Percy, Horrid Lorry, By George, Something in the Air, and Oliver's Find. So we begin with our first episode, Toby and the Flood.
All right.
After it's been raining for several weeks, a dam suddenly starts to leak and is in danger of breaking apart. It finally bursts, and poor Toby is then swept away, and it's up to Percy and Harold to rescue him before plummeting off a nearing waterfall. This is one of, if not the craziest episode of Season 5.
Oh, yeah.
It's completely non-stop from beginning to end. And while, yes, it's over the top and very much unrealistic, it's full of action, and it's a hell of a lot of fun. And you can really feel the sense of urgency when all these situations are taken so seriously, despite them being unrealistic.
Exactly.
Both the score and visuals really show how much of a dark tone this season really had in store.
Well, yeah,
The gloomy atmosphere setting in with one of the longest orchestral pieces by Mike and Jr. This is definitely one of their best pieces.
Yeah. Like, the music is really good.
gives me chills. In that regard, remember how I said season 5 never sat well with me?
Yeah.
Would you believe me if I told you that this was the episode that started it off? Oh yes, this was the first season 5 episode I ever watched, and it scared the bejesus out of me. More so, cause...
See, this episode, when I was younger, I will admit a lot of episodes scared me. When my brother watched it, it didn't scare him as much. Like, yeah, I don't know. Some episodes scared us, some didn't. So, I don't know. Like, this one looks intense. I will say that, so.
Toby was always one of my favorite characters. So to see him in this dire situation, well, rightfully, I was terrified for him.
Well, yeah, you would be. So it only
makes sense that if the overall story and music was enough to freak me out at such a young age, then these guys did their job right.
Well, duh.
Well freaking done. I do not care whatsoever if this was over the top. I certainly don't care if it was unrealistic. It's just such a fun story, and it's definitely one of my favorite episodes of classic Thomas. A well-deserved 10 out of 10.
Yeah! Put Upon Percy is one of my favorites.
Our second episode is Put Upon Percy. Percy grumbles about having too much work and complains that he is put upon. As he's working, some runaway trucks crash, causing the mine to collapse. And one thing leads to another with sinking rails and an avalanche burying Percy alive.
Oh.
This is another that gets pretty wild. To think, all of this was caused by a couple of runaway trucks. And it just kept going with one thing leading into the next. Seriously, when are we ever gonna see this huge amount of commotion like this ever in a Thomas episode?
That's true. The music. And the siren. I love doing that. I don't know why. I just love making siren noises. That's one of my fears is just being buried alive. It's a lot of us have that fear. And yeah, just like I can't even watch a buried alive movie. I can't, so. So when I was younger, yeah, this was okay. But now it's like,
Then again, Toby and the Flood and many other episodes after this are just as dire.
Pretty much.
So Put Upon Percy is right on par here. Now, while there is no set moral for this story, I think Percy showed us how everything will benefit you in the end, while either acting quickly in any type of emergency as well as working hard. Sure, he was terrified, but he was also very brave in the end. This is the character arc to which I adore Percy. I will always love his cheeky side, but this season 5 arc of his is something that really needs to be praised. Something the later seasons really slacked on.
Exactly.
And man, does it show.
Oh yeah, that one was not great.
Another of season 5's best episodes.
Because in that episode, Percy was so brave in the classics, and then the CGI when they did that one, they made Percy into a scaredy cat. So I'm not gonna lie, he has always been a bit of a scaredy cat, but that just no.
More so, my favorite, right alongside Flood. Another solid 10 out of 10.
Next one.
Next comes our third episode, Horrid Lorry.
Oh no!
Too much work, 3 lorries arrive to help. However, they soon discover that the lorries are horrid and tell the engines they'll all soon be scrapped. But one lorry after the other has their own issues, and the engines work harder than ever to make sure they never return. Alright, so now we've got 3 short-lived newbie characters who are also a trio of dicks to the engines.
Pretty much.
Fantastic. I I'll admit, I wasn't exactly fond of this episode in the early days, but I've warmed up to it a bit. One line that does strike me a bit here is, times are a-changin'. If that isn't the truth, I don't know what is.
That's true.
But how it gets played out throughout the story is pretty funny. It seems like right from the very beginning, these lorries are a huge threat to the railway compared to the other road vehicles we've already seen.
Oh, yeah.
They just keep taking every other bit of work for the engines while ranting about how they're all too slow. Meanwhile, who broke down, reversed into the sea, and can't steer for
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, guys. There is one major thing I do need to know. Who exactly gave the order to ship these lorries to Sodor?
Yeah.
It couldn't have been Topham since we don't even see him throughout the whole episode. This was an idea remarked by Cranky. Are you telling me that maybe Cranky put in the word with somebody to have these lorries shipped here? Damn, he might be even more devious than we originally thought.
What?
One last thing I should mention
What does that make sense, Cranky? No!
is how excellent Baldwin's voices are for the lorries. I feel like he's trying to do some kind of impression, but I'm not exactly sure what.
Well. No wonder this railway's a mess. You belong in a museum, not working in a quarry. I might look old, but I'm very useful. Useful? Ha! Replied the lorry. Just you tootle off.
But regardless, these
goodness.
voices are just too perfect.
They are perfect.
So overall, I do think this episode is a bit of a chuckle to sit through. I rank it a 9 out of 10.
Okay.
And up next we have Bye, George.
Bye, George.
George's overall grumpiness starts to irritate the engines, and while working on a set of lines, he does it improperly, causing Thomas to crash. He causes even more trouble when he blocks Duck, sending one of his cars flying by Gordon.
That's right.
Well, compared to the last 3 episodes, I'm iffy with this one.
Yeah, I
George
never
is a
liked
little
George.
more annoying here than the events that were played out in Steamroller. I could see if he was annoyed with someone like Sir Handel, but what exactly does he have against everyone else? Oh right, I forgot. One engine screws with a non-vehicle character, and next thing you know, every engine's on your list.
Pretty much.
What also irks me is how stupid George's crew irresponsibly handles the track work. Like, are you guys blind? How did you not know that was going to cause an accident?
Well, duh.
I mean, think about it. That was only done because Thomas ignored George for, I don't know, doing his job? And then George got pissed? What? That's not an excuse to just intentionally wreck an engine.
No,
And
it's
he
not.
almost caused another between Duck and Gordon because George wouldn't move. Why did you block Duck's path? You weren't doing anything. What the was the point of all that?
Exactly!
Also, if I were STH, I wouldn't have given George a week of punishment. I'd kick him and his crew the hell out. If you're intentionally doing
See, that's just it. Why didn't you kick them out?
horrible work and delaying others while putting other engines at risk of crashing, then you don't deserve to be here.
Oh,
Overall, I rank this episode a 5 out of 10.
Yeah, not that great.
Here we have our next episode, Something in the Air.
Henry!
Damaged tracks by the coastline cause Thomas to be late, which upsets Henry. As he takes the flying kipper down the coast, thick fog rolls in, and soon it's too late as Henry
Oh, yeah.
literally
Oh,
swims with the fishes. We finally have another signature Henry episode. And it's good, aside from, well, a few gripes.
Yeah.
Well, let's start off with Henry himself.
Okay.
We're back to the personality of what I like to refer to as Dick Henry. I said it once, and I'll say it again. I don't very much care for this side. I got enough of this in season 1 and 2.
Duh.
Knock it off. 2, Topham really needs to rethink who he hires on this railway. How stupid do you have to be told that the coastal route is dangerous, but still have Henry run on that line?
Duh.
You cannot seriously be this stupid. And lastly, how is any of this Henry's fault again? There goes Topham once again.
See, and this is the thing. This is why I don't like the classic series. Sir Topham Hatt is such a jerk. This is why I prefer the CGI series, because he's more considerate and kind. Here, he's just a major jerk.
And blaming something on the engines that was totally out of their control. It's not like the crew came over to him and said, Henry, you can't use that track. And he cocks back and says, oh, this, I'm gonna do whatever I want. I think Henry's a little smarter than that.
Yeah, duh.
And this is why my hate towards the Fat Man gets a little more deeper. On a more positive note, this episode did give us some pretty nice shots of the coast.
It did.
Probably some of the best we've seen in a while. And that crash is pretty intense. Kind of gives me Takes the Plunge vibes, except more funnier when Henry spits out the water. Isn't it weird, though, that we've already had 3 different stories with Henry pulling the kipper, and they've all ended up in accidents? I think this is a sign that Henry should maybe keep away from fish trains.
Duh.
Not exactly the best Henry story in my eyes, but you know something? It's not entirely bad either.
No, it's not.
I rank it a 7.5 out of 10.
Oh, that's not bad. That's not bad.
And now we have our final episode, Oliver's Find.
I'm scared for the
When
song.
Oliver bumps some cars off the tracks, Sir Topham Hatt orders him to take the mail train.
Yeah.
Whilst on the job, he runs late and is sent down an old track, crashing into an old shed. Soon, a search party finds them, and it's then discovered Oliver has found a new attraction for visitors.
Yeah.
In the beginning, I used to not care for this episode.
No.
Naturally, because I didn't care for Oliver as a character by this point.
Well, no. Oliver is
But
like...
as time went
yeah.
on, now this episode is pretty enjoyable. One can even relate to Oliver in this scenario. Him tired of doing the same thing over and over again, longing for a nice run.
Yeah.
That would be the equivalent of any person with a normal daily routine and no change whatsoever.
Duh.
It's always nice to change things up, but while doing so, be sure not to do anything stupid in the process. And while Oliver's discovery is interesting, I'd be a little more excited if we actually got to see what it turned into afterward, since this was the only time this house was ever shown. Oh, and did I forget to mention that none of this would have happened had it not been for the lazy signalmen? What is with these people dozing off on the job? Yeah,
What the heck? Why did I say
think
I
you
meant
need
to
to
say
start
meat?
handing
What
out
the frick?
pink slip.
What the heck was that?
It's real simple. Just write it out, give him a little piece of paper, and then say,
Get the fuck out of here!
I also need to point out that I love Alec's voice for Oliver. It's so much different compared to the New York accent George provided.
Yeah.
All I do is shunt these freight cars onto the turntable. I long for a nice run.
I love
It's what an
that
engine
voice.
really needs.
I love
While
that
it's
voice.
good, I still very much prefer Carlin's voice, as
No,
that's
I
always
like
been
this
my
voice.
interpretation for how Oliver should sound. In any case, my favorite Oliver-centered episode still remains at Oliver Owns Up, but I've at least grown to enjoy this episode a lot more than what I did before.
Yeah.
I think this episode deserves an 8 out of 10.
Okay, not bad.
And just before we close out the tape comes our
no.
bonus music video.
Oh, no.
Accidents will happen.
Come on.
Well, as I pointed out in my classic song
I love
rankings,
this song.
while the song is good, you still have to admit, it's pretty overrated. To
Hey.
this day, this song still gets an ungodly amount of attention.
Ah!
That's not to say it's a bad thing, because the song still slaps. I just don't consider it a personal favorite.
I
as
do!
It's not one I would want to listen to a million times.
Oh, I do.
And I'm still trying to figure out why it grabs so much attention. Wait, I think I figured it out. Because crash equals views, right? Great algorithm.
I love
So
it.
what are my final thoughts on
I love this song.
Rescues
Come on,
and
it's
Runaways?
not overrated.
This tape is wonderful. It's my second favorite season 5 release, right behind Spills and Chills. But
I am pissed that he got the song overrated. What the heck? What the
did
heck?
anyone ever bother to point out that the title of this tape is just a bit misleading?
Yeah.
I'm not taking away the fact that most of the episodes on here are good.
Okay, I'd like to know, how did he create this? Like, did he draw this picture of the engine with the number 22 on it? Like, How did they do that? I want to know.
But I feel like only 2 episodes really major in the VHS title itself.
Yeah.
That being Flood and Put Upon. I don't really see too much of this in Horrid Lorry and By George, and with Something in the Air and Oliver's Fine.
Yeah.
The only thing I would really say is that there is the rescue portion, but it's only a teensy little bit, and I'm not counting that.
Yeah.
Compared to Spills, that tape was pretty on point with the Spills and Chills theme, apart from 1 episode.
Yeah.
I feel like if they mixed some of these episodes up between the 2 tapes, I think you would have had better results.
Duh.
Like, maybe Holiday should have been on Races, for example, for the rescue portion.
Oh.
You could have really amped things up if maybe Boulder was on this tape to give you 2 out of the 3.
Ooh, that would be a good
And
one.
let's say maybe Something in the Air, because it's a spill, should have been on Spills and Chills.
Yeah.
You see where I'm going with this?
Yeah, I do.
But I'm not going to completely bash the tape for aspects that aren't all there. Because again, most of these stories are pretty enjoyable.
They are.
If you like crazy, over-the-top, and very much unrealistic nonsense, then this is the perfect tape for you. So that concludes this review. I want to thank you all so much for watching, and be sure to check out my other reviews in my review playlist.
Thank you all for watching, guys. This is KBR101 signing out. Adios, everybody.